Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this brief talk about the degree program Computer Science and Language. Thank you for coming along. Can you all hear me clearly enough? Okay. So the Computer Science and Language program is a combined study of three things, really. As that little chart there indicates, it's computer science, one of the major components, acquiring a mastery of a particular language, that might be German, French, or Irish, and the third component is really a study of the science of language. This is linguistics, the scientific study of language in general, as an object of scientific study, and computational linguistics, which is the associated technologies concerning language that kind of come out of the scientific study of language. And the first thing I'll try and do is say a little bit about those three components. The first of those is computer science. So what are we trying to accomplish in the computer science part of the program? Well, basically this, to give you a mastery of the techniques and technologies that lie behind what you see on the screen of one of today's computers. And I probably should update these slides to make it more relevant to today's computers. I mean, this is really a computer, just as these big things with screens are. They are the technologies that lie behind desktops, laptops, smartphones, and also, less visibly, behind many things that you have daily interactions with. So if you watched the weather forecast this morning, you'd have seen strange arrows and depictions of highs and lows, all produced by computer models to predict the weather. If you were doing Christmas shopping and you were on Amazon, it would have been making recommendations to you about things you might like to buy because of other things that you've already bought. There'd be computer programs behind that. So they are ubiquitous, as you're probably to some extent aware. And one of the things we're aiming to do is give you, as I say there, the techniques and technologies that lie behind all of that, which enables you to potentially, one of the outcomes of the degree is for people to take up a career in that industry. By no means the only outcome that people have headed towards, but it certainly is a possible outcome. Now, there is no particular requirement concerning computer science that we expect people to have already done. We do sort of start from the ground up, and there's a great deal of attention paid to fostering these abilities. But to have a sort of indicator of whether you're going to have the sorts of aptitudes that are involved, sort of recognition of precision or analysing a system, a perception of structure, really. We do use this entry requirement that you have a C3 or better in higher level maths. It's not at all the case that the degree itself is wildly, overtly mathematical. There is maths involved. There'll be other degree programs that have more maths and others that have less, but as an indicator of whether you're going to have the sort of aptitudes that are involved at the very least in computer programming, this is what we have. Okay, so that's computer science. A language, that's the other, a second component, mastering a language. You'll either study German, French, or Irish, and that will be with the language departments of the university here. And they will be seeking to bring you to a very high level of competence in that language, a level that will be sufficient to allow you to use that competence professionally. So another place that people have gone to careers-wise after the degree program is in doing that. So they may have gone to work as translators, interpreters. They may have worked in the diplomatic service where their language skills were vital. As an important part of that, there's this Erasmus third year component, which is a program supported by the European Union that allows students to be exchanged between different universities. And we have exchange arrangements with a variety of universities in Europe. And what people do in their third year is that they go to one of our partner universities. Now, these partner universities are chosen so that you can continue the general kind of a degree program that you had in the first 2 years, also in that partner university, through that foreign language. So a great deal of effort is put into making sure over the first 2 years that you've reached the level in your language that you can undertake that. Now, obviously, that is a fairly challenging thing, but many people have done it before, and a great deal of effort is put into making sure that you can do so. And one of the payoffs, obviously, of that process of spending that third year abroad in the language part is that, you know, there's this big jump step you'll experience in fluency in that language through doing that. And then there's the third component, which is the scientific study of language, linguistics. Now, everyone's familiar with language, almost over familiar, because, you know, we all speak and started to do so like age 1 or 2. But what people have done is stand back and study language as an object of scientific study. And when people have done this, what they found is there's a remarkable amount of regularity and patterns in the way languages generally work. And one of the further aspects of what will be involved in the program will be this kind of study, which is related also to the technologies that are connected with language, computational linguistics. So just to give you a tiny indicator of this, in the sounds of language, there's kind of patterns and regularity. There's an international phonetic alphabet for kind of inventorizing all the sounds of the languages of all the world in the world, and regularity is concerning how those sounds are combined with each other and affect each other when they're in particular contexts. When people put this to some kind of scrutiny, they find there's patterns in the words of languages, how certain endings are added to particular words, how they systematically change the meaning, different ways different languages do that, patterns in things which you might have expected to be reasonable but turn out to be not as reasonable as you might have first imagined. There's another area where you find these surprising patterns. Maybe most prominently is grammars of language. Now, anyone who studied a foreign language or is studying a foreign language will be studying grammar. It's almost an inevitable thing that you have to do. Now, there's patterns in the grammars of languages as you compare one language to another. And there's patterns in how grammar, in its way of analysing how words are put together, relate to what a sentence actually means. How do those bits and pieces get put together to mean something? So that's a very brief kind of indicator of the sorts of things that are involved in the science of language, linguistics. All of those things feed into computational linguistics, which are technologies around language. Now, so that may make things look a little bit like a miscellany, and that's less the case than it maybe first appears, because these things are more related than you might initially first imagine. So anyone who's studying a foreign language has to become aware and perceptive about grammar. So you already have a head start in linguistics through this. Another aspect of this is one of the things you'll be studying is phonetics, which is the science of the sound of language, the intricacies of that. And that helps you get a very clear idea of exactly what is going on in creating all the different possible sounds of a language, and that in itself is a very useful thing for in bringing your own fluency in the language you're studying, particularly its pronunciation, to a very high level. And there's a kind of abstract connection between these things. Linguistics and computer science particularly are very linked like this. Throughout them, you encounter over and over again the notion of subroutines and substructures, somehow of things being nested inside each other in a Russian doll-like way. Anyway, it's often turned out to be the case that people with some aptitude for linguistics have an aptitude for computer science, and vice versa. People with an aptitude for languages often have an aptitude for linguistics. Okay, and finally, the link between computer science and linguistics is at its strongest in computational linguistics, which is a component of one of the things that you study doing the degree program. This is really technologies around language. So here's a picture that maybe gives you an indication of what's involved in this. So once you've figured out the structure of a sentence in all kinds of different dimensions, there's ways that can be exploited to do things that people find useful. So translating it into a different language, making sounds, speech synthesis, looking in the more semantic direction of seeing whether there's information in a database relating to the sentence at hand, and so on. And so on really stands for a vast array of areas in which technologies are developed around language. So there's speech synthesis, speech recognition, compressing documents, sentiment analysis, and many, 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 many others. I mean, language is such a ubiquitous thing, it's almost pointless to try and enumerate all the possible ways you might want to build technologies around language. So I've said a little bit about this. Careers, the places people go. One destination is towards being a software developer. We've certainly had people who've gone in that direction. Either general software in any kind of corner of computer science, or maybe more specifically in those corners of computer science to do with language technology, which is also an ever burgeoning area. People take their French, German, Irish language skills and use those specifically, maybe in translation work, possibly in foreign office style occupations. There's a kind of career that people have which somehow doesn't necessarily directly use their computer science skills or their language skills, but there's multinationals, and all of them are involved in computers in some way or another. So I mean, even if you're a car company, cars are full of computers. Managing a business is full of computers. Such companies have seemed to, in the past, and probably will continue to do so, find graduates who have an entirely, I mean, not a superficial, but a really serious grasp of computer technology on the one hand, and on the other, they know about a foreign language. They've found that kind of combination of skills quite attractive. So graduates of this degree, you could say, amongst many other things that they've become able to do, they're certainly problem solvers. Working in computer science and working in linguistics inculcates that skill. Obviously, programming is one of the things that you do. You'll be a good analyst. There's a kind of logical dissection of things in computer science, in linguistics, that is definitely fostered. Clearly, you'll have mastered a foreign language to a, well, I shouldn't say foreign language, it may also be Irish, to a very high level. Self-reliance, that's a slightly curious thing to write in there, but it's a fact that those who go for this this Erasmus year abroad, many graduates of the program cherish this as one of their things they enjoyed most, and it's valuable from the sort of learning the language point view. It is also a fairly challenging undertaking to do. To go to another university, master this technical material through another foreign language, master all the other issues of travel and insurance and finding a flat and all these things in another country. And students who are returning from this experience, you can see the difference in their confidence about their ability to handle many challenges. And as an item on their CV, or maybe it's just, they are self-reliant. They can put themselves forward as a fairly self-reliant people. And this is just a kind of indicator of, as I say, these different places people have. Sorry, let's go back on the slide here. I've got people doing language work, general software engineering. As I say, this is slightly harder to describe, but roles within multinationals. Again, this is people probably using the language and the technology. There's people who've gone to work for the European Patent Office doing that. People work with the Irish Diplomatic Corps using their language skill. Others have gone to do speech and language therapy. Others have gone on to do further research. I should have put that one in there. This isn't the time really to give you a sort of very, very detailed breakdown of all what's involved in the program. You can look in our brochures, and in particular look at our website, which will be coming up in a minute, but it's also in our brochure. That will give you lots of information about this. Maybe what these slides emphasize is that in all the years, it is this combined process, combination of things. It's computer science, it is the study of language, and also mastering a particular language. That happens in all 4 years. In the 4th year, there's an element of choosing particular options, and there's a small amount of difference of emphasis, but still it's the case in all 4 years. Those 3 components are substantially there. Some other further features of the degree program. One could say that this has suited people who've possibly been undecided between science and arts, or know themselves to have abilities in both these kinds of possibly disjoint areas. This has been a home to some people of that inclination. As it happens, the program has tended to be fairly gender balanced. It's a very multidisciplinary, possibly the most multidisciplinary program that Trinity College has, and by virtue of that fosters this very large range of talents, problem solving, conceptual analysis, kind of cultural awareness of other nations, and as I said, this self-reliance aspect through not least, but through the year abroad. We also put a lot of work into people working in projects and to develop their own ideas and solutions to things. And a further aspect is we have a research seminar which all the students attend, as do other academics from other universities in Dublin with an interest in these areas of linguistics and computational linguistics, where speakers come from around the world and talk about issues in that area. So, finally, this is what can one say about this degree program? It's challenging, it's useful, it's a fascinating subject. I find it fascinating. I think many people do find language fascinating. These are a few words from a particular graduate of the the program. What you should do to find more information, well, you're here today, so you can obviously, but that's the website. You'll find much, much, much more information there, breaking things down. You'll find, for example, more reports by past students of how they found the degree and what they are now doing, as well as much more detailed information about the individual modules that you study as part of the degree. So that's certainly one place to go. We have a desk in the dining hall where you can speak to some current undergraduates and members of staff. There's also a desk in the Lloyd building. This is one of the programs that the computer science department is involved in, so there's also information there about this program. You'll find both in our brochure, again, which you can pick up at the desk, or also by looking at information online, you'll find contact information. And one thing that people have done in the past, and I think have found useful, is they come along and do shadowing. Sounds a rather murky name for what they do is they come along and basically try the degree out for a day or even maybe 2 days. So they come along, we arrange this, and they then join, they're kind of looked after by a current first year or second year, and they go along to a variety of the lectures that are in the program to give you a kind of, well, a first-hand insight into what that's like. And also you can talk to the current students and hear from them how it is. So we're quite happy to facilitate that kind of arrangement. All you have to do is get in contact with us, and we'll work out you know, a good day or time to do it. Okay, so with that, I'll stop. If you've got any questions, obviously you can come up to me at the end of this talk here, or go to the various desks where we have people today. Okay, thank you.